Hello everyone, my name is Jinjoz and welcome to my Pokemon anime review series. Last episode, the trio and Team Rocket escaped the submerged St. Anne. After drifting aimlessly through the ocean with no land in sight, a group of Gyarados performed their most ferocious attack, Dragon Rage, producing such a powerful cyclone that it launched and scattered our heroes and Team Rocket. Who knows where they will land or if they'll survive. Today we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 17, The Island of the Giant Pokemon, which will conclude our trilogy of episodes revolving around the sinking of the St. Anne. Before we dive into the episode, though, our Who's That Pokemon for this episode is Slowbro, a bipedal Pokemon with vacant eyes and a shelter attached to its tail, though its appearance has been altered by its attempt to suck the sweet taste that Slowbro's tail produces. If this shelter ever becomes detached from a Slowbro, it reverts back to its unevolved form, Slowpoke. Slowbro are often viewed as lazy and unintelligent, but apparently becomes thoughtful and inspired when Shelter bites on its tail. Shelter also injects a poison that causes Slowbro unable to feel pain. Since it can no longer fish for food with its tail, it now swims in lakes, ponds, and seashores to catch its prey, letting the Shelter eat its scraps. Its Pokemon Sun Pokedex entry reads, it spaces out while gazing at the sea. With Shelter's poison flowing through its body, it becomes even spacier. Moving into the episode, we check in on the trio who have landed on a mysterious island, and while they seem to be in one piece, Ash notices that Pikachu and three of his Pokemon are missing, which has got to be pretty terrifying when you think about it. Those Pokeballs could be anywhere, even sinking to the bottom of the ocean. I mean, how do they get out? I just feel claustrophobic thinking about it already. Team Rocket seems to be doing okay, though their cheery mood quickly diminishes as they realize that Meowth, Ekans, and Koffing are all missing. And to top it off, that Cyclone stole their lunch bunny. We all now get to breathe a sigh of relief as we turn our attention to Pikachu and Ash's other Pokemon, which turn out to be the Kanto starter trio. Pikachu goes around letting everyone out of their Pokeballs, and we are actually given subtitles so we know what they are saying, a first and only time that a Pokemon is given subtitles. Everyone is out of their seemingly disappearing Pokeballs, and they're all a bit beat up, but they start assessing the situation. They spot a Slowpoke and try to communicate, but Slowpoke is bathing in the sun and couldn't be bothered. While Charmander and Pikachu are worried and trying to figure things out, Squirtle and Bulbasaur comment on how peaceful this place is. I think these two are my spirit animals, and hey, at least they're looking on the bright side of life. Night falls, and Ash's Pokemon are trekking through the woods looking for Ash when Bulbasaur makes the comment that Ash probably forgot about them, something he will bring up again in the next scene. Charmander's concerned, but Pikachu and Squirtle put that thought out of their mind. While we know that Ash would never abandon his Pokemon, it's understandable for Bulbasaur and especially Charmander to be worried about this. Charmander was abandoned by his trainer and even put into a situation where his life was in danger because of that abandonment, and Bulbasaur protected a village full of abandoned Pokemon. And now that I think about it, it was even mentioned that Squirtle was also abandoned by his trainer, and then he formed the Squirtle Squad, so we're really dealing with a lot of abandoned Pokemon with their own issues. While helping these abandoned Pokemon, I'm sure Bulbasaur grew a distaste for Pokemon training, seeing them leave their Pokemon behind due to them being too weak or just not the Pokemon they enjoy. Though this conversation will have to be for another time, as Meowth, Ekans, and Koffing show up to take over, but Ash's Pokemon just shrug and ignore him. Meowth has some gusto and tries to command Koffing and Ekans, but they both will only answer to Jesse and James, and I'll say props to them, very dedicated Pokemon. With no backup, Meowth gives up, and they all end up sitting around a campfire munching on their dinner. Though Meowth is tied up, once again, some cruel and unusual punishment, eating dinner in front of someone who can't eat. Though this lovely meal is rudely interrupted by a giant Rhydon, and I'm talking huge, like scary huge. The Pokemon aren't the only ones not sleeping tonight, though, as the trio are running through the woods as they are being chased down by a huge Zapdos, and Team Rocket is getting chased down by a gigantic Moltres. Not a fun night for anyone, though I think out of those three, I'd take one of the birds. At least they can't step on you and crush you to death, right? That night, the Pokemon pull some bar stools up to some sort of pop-up restaurant run by a Slowbro, and this scene really shows off the personality of these Pokemon. I especially like Bulbasaur, whom I believe is actually probably drunk in this scene, but it was either edited out entirely or just for the US. The next day, everyone wakes up, and they head out, preparing to find one another. Jesse and James immediately head to the phone booth they found previously to make a collect call, and we get this funny little scene here.
Pardon me, but where are we running?
To make a phone call.
Huh? But Jesse, we don't have any money.
There's one number we can always call for free.
Huh?
Hello, operator. I'd like to put this call through collect, please.
Who'd accept the charges?
Hello, boss.
The boss!
Oh, James, where would we be without you? Call to the boss doesn't go as planned. He even hangs up before they can finish the Team Rocket mono. Shocker, right? Now, I gotta say, while Jesse and James are a bit eccentric, you can't cast any doubt that they are dedicated members of Team Rocket. I mean, they made an R out of the telephone cord, for Pete's sake. Jesse gets this bright idea to stay in the phone booth and pull on the cord connecting it until they are pulled to the phone company, to which they can be rescued. Honestly, pretty solid plan. As this goes on, they see a Pikachu off in the distance that is growing and growing as it gets closer, to the point where Jesse and James dub it Bigachu. The phone booth is destroyed, and we get a couple quick scenes of the trio getting chased down by a Charizard, and Ash's Pokemon trying to make friends with a Blastoise and a Venusaur. Jesse and James end up jumping into a minecart in order to avoid the Kabutops, and man, that thing is really terrifying, especially as it grows bigger and bigger. Eventually, the trio and Team Rocket meet up in a minecart, begin moving quickly towards the coast when all the Pokemon are running full sprint away from the giant Pokemon on the island. Once the Pokemon jump into the cart and everyone is relieved and happy, they continue to absolutely destroy everything on this island, and they end up learning that the Pokemon are all mechanical and a part of an amusement park. Once the carnage and destruction happens, a phone call is made to the boss, which turns out to be Giovanni, the boss of Team Rocket. He picks up the phone, learns that Pokeland was destroyed, and is super pissed off. We time jump a bit forward to the trio arriving in Porta Vista, which perfectly sets the stage for next week's episode entitled Beauty and the Beach, which isn't a typical Pokemon episode, as it is actually a banned episode of the anime due to some cross-dressing and some inflatable boobs. Though something like that isn't going to trouble us, as next week we will be reviewing that episode. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day.